He's editor-in-chief of Breitbart News and a New York Times best-selling author. And on this podcast, he brings deep research, prescient analysis, and world-class guests. He's Alex Marlow, and this is the Alex Marlow Show.
All right, special edition of the Marlow Show from vacation today because there's just too much news going on. And also, we got a special show for you tomorrow. Dr. Drew will be here. I just taped with him, and I was on his schedule. I didn't want to blow that also, but I'm on a solo couple of days with Mrs. Dr. Marlow, trying to enjoy our lives, but the news always seems to interfere. The last time we did one of these things, I think I worked the whole time, and so this time that I'm only doing a couple of shows for you all, for the Marlow Show audience. That's it. So I'm doing, and then I'll go back to the relaxation zone. We did something, I guess, proving we're of a certain age. I will disclose. We were in Las Vegas, Nevada. We like Las Vegas, and we've been here about 24 hours, not quite, about 23 hours as I'm recording this. And I have not played one hand of cards or gambled a penny. And guess when we went to bed last night? No one will guess. No, it's like a joke. It's like a Will Ferrell movie. 8:50. We went to bed at 8:50 in Las Vegas. It's totally true. She was lights out by 9. I was lights out by 10, I would say. I was reading some Hemingway. Just fantastic. But it is the nightlife does not call us any longer, but it's still fun. It's a great place. I like it. It's in doses. And if you're not inclined to do any of those really, really nasty behaviors that is associated with this city, but there's a lot of fun stuff. But we're having a good time. But I want to get in a couple of shows because of the LA riots, et cetera. And do not miss a Dr. Drew show tomorrow. I think you will be absolutely educated on a handful of issues. He is a real doctor, and he's not someone who is of a political tribe. And I think he brings interesting takes that will challenge every perspective that you've got, and a brave guy. So really fun because I've been listening to him for so long. So you got that for tomorrow's show. And then we're already lining up some good stuff for later in the week. We'll get back to big, beautiful bill talk. Got some senators who want to get in here. And I will tease to you, it looks like any day now, I'm going to be making one of the biggest announcements of my life. So I can't wait to share with this audience more than any other. But it's not going to be today or tomorrow. So because I'm going to try to play a little bit, right? Like in the figurative sense. Okay, so the big news is the LA riots, kind of wild stuff. I was on Laura Ingram's show on Friday, which is sort of my usual for them. I prefer a Wednesday or a Thursday, but they like me on the Fridays. And they had made me prep for 6 topics because they were going to do a round robin type thing, which is good. I think that's sort of complimentary that they don't pigeonhole me with a specific topic. And so I prepared that. It takes a long time because they like talking points over there, as I've shared, which is, it's fine. It's always, if I don't use them, then I can use them on the show. So it's never really wasted time. But I prepared, for 6 topics, and then I'm in the chair, my hits in 7 minutes. And they're like, hey, can you talk LA riots? I'm like, oh, I could talk LA riots. And I had no idea how much things were going to blow up. They have a snippet of my hit on my X feed, and we have the whole thing at Breitbart.com if you want to see it. But I will start with, I guess, the details of what happened in L.A. on June 6th. So it started with ICE raids, so federal agencies coming in, large-scale crackdowns, mostly in the downtown L.A. area, but also in surrounding areas. And there were dozens of arrests right away. I think that number has gone up to hundreds, if not thousands, at this point. But the raids are, I think, of areas with high illegal alien populations, and they target a lot of specific businesses. Started with places like Home Depot, where there's a subculture in LA, which is just unbelievable that we've allowed for this to go on. And no disrespect to Home Depot, Bernie Marcus, who founded Home Depot, one of the greatest Americans who ever walked the earth. So there's not an indictment of them, but it is in LA in particular, from my experience. There is a subculture where they are what I refer to as day hookers. These are the equivalent of hookers, but they do day labor, and they hang outside big hardware stores, et cetera, and they wait for people to pick them up for one day's work. They don't speak English. They inevitably will say they can do any job you have, and then they will do it for a small fee, generally less than minimum wage, and it's slave labor, essentially, and it's a miserable existence. But for illegal aliens, that's what they've got. And in LA, this has been woven into the fabric of our city. And until Donald Trump came along, that this is something that we've just entirely tolerated. We've been completely comfortable with this. And I would imagine a guy like a Stephen Miller, who grew up in L.A. like I did at the exact same time and is an immigration hawk, he has been privy to this stuff. And it's ridiculous. It's absurd, and it's beneath us as a country that this isn't just okay. It's tolerated to the point where we don't talk about it at all. It's just fundamental to LA that we have these day hookers, and we're just like, hey, it's amusing to us. No, it's a sign of a broken immigration system. It's a sign of lawlessness, and it represents to the rest of the world that America it's an economy. It's not a country. It's not a people. It's not a homeland. It is an economy, and we're comfortable having people who don't speak English, who are not citizens, who are barely even residents, who are willing to work for slave wages, and they can work in our biggest, most powerful, most influential cities, and we're all comfortable with it. It's a disgrace. It's nasty stuff. And yet no one ever dealt with it, including Trump, the first administration, which, again, he had a lot more headwinds than he does this time around. But, of course, the Republican establishment doesn't care. This has been a fundamental failing of the city of L.A., the state of California, and of the United States of America in general. And so Trump comes in there with ICE, and he's cracking down. And this is something where he's got a broad the scale's pretty huge here. So I think he's trying to, in a nutshell, make an example of LA and of these cities, and of some of these businesses, because when it does get this level of media attention and it's seen around the world, and this will be an international news story, of course it is, then that's going to send a message to people that America's closed, and if you're already here, you should probably leave. So that's great. That's productive. But yeah, ICE is reporting to 8,000 arrests. That sounds unbelievable. No, I'm sorry. That's for the whole administration. That's too much. That's too much. But we're getting a lot of arrests here, and it's all sorts of immigration enforcement. And then, needless to say, what we saw afterwards is rioting. And then we saw the apologies by the left for the rioting, where the left stands up for the rioters and not for the people of LA, the taxpayers, the citizens, the American people, the ICE agents, the law enforcement, all the people who are compromised here. They're the ones who are actually part of Team Trump and the bad guys. And the real victims here are the illegal alien criminals who are torching one of America's major cities. We've got a lot of clips and a lot of reaction. I'm going to start chipping away at some of these. Here's some of it right here. There's a lot of visuals on the show. If you're not doing the visuals, you're going to miss some of this stuff. But this is right in downtown. A lot of Mexican flags, a lot of people, and cop cars getting pelted. They're throwing bicycles on cop cars. They're throwing those stupid rental scooters on cop cars. That's a big deal to me, because the stupid rental scooter industry, where it's just like all these stupid scooters that are just people getting hurt on them, and it's what do they do? Do we really need these things? They look like litter. They're all over this town and a lot of other major cities. They're throwing those on cop cars. They're pelting cop cars with eggs and stuff like that. And a lot of these people are out there throwing rocks. They're chipping away at the curb and then throwing pieces of concrete at the cops. Wild stuff. So inappropriate, so awful, and so dangerous. They wear masks, of course, because that covers their face. Here's some more riot footage. Cars being torched in the middle of the street. A lot of swear words written on the cars. A lot of people cheering. It's right in the heart of LA. It's going right in the middle of town. And all these looky-loos just doing the selfie stick deals. Some of them wearing masks, a lot of them covering their face. Is that a Tesla? It'd be funny if it is. Could be. Yeah. So this is they're just burning the city to the ground. That's the point. That's what they're going to do. See, I think I had one other piece of footage show for you, all of you in the viewing audience.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers.
Missy, did you hear what I heard there? That was ABC7, which is local news. Did they just say they're just people having fun watching cars burn? This can't be real. This has got to be an AI. Let me try this one more time.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Okay, so this is ABC News allegedly, and they're suggesting people are just having fun watching cars burn because whoever's property the car was, that person, it doesn't matter. What matters is that people are having fun watching cars burn, and it's really law enforcement, Trump administration, who could let these things get out of hand. So here's the point. I don't know if that's an AI or not, and it's sad that we can't tell, but let's put it this way. If it wasn't, would you be surprised in the slightest? No, of course not. Like of course you would think the establishment media is fully capable of speaking that way about torching and looting, because we saw all the people on MSNBC during the Summer of Love riots in 2020 that said the mostly peaceful riots, or whatever it was, peacefully protesting, and with the burning that's going on in the background. I documented this in great detail in Breaking the News, my first book. It's just comical stuff where you have people who are witnessing the destruction of American cities and excusing it as mostly peaceful, fiery yet mostly peaceful, I think was the expression. So Trump is not going to back down on this because I think he sees that normal people don't like this. Normal people are not into this behavior. Normal people do not feel as though it is it's anyone's civil rights just to riot. That is not something that's in people's civil rights. Here's some more footage. I think this is really important. This is how our ICE agents are being treated right now. From Fox. Yeah, ICE can go to hell. ICE are not afraid of you. So they don't like law and order. They hate law and order. And when I announced some of my research projects I've been working on, this is going to be a big theme. The left hates law and order, and they always have. It's a part of their identity and their character at this point. And just recognize that when you're trying to deal with them is that that's not one of their values. Law and order is not one of their values. They want the ability for people who are at the lowest rungs of the economic system in this country to be able to riot if that sows chaos. And that will ultimately it would be one of these things where they champion these groups of people because they believe they're a voting bloc that matters. The shoplifting vote is apparently very big. The we hate ICE vote is apparently very big. And that's all this is cynical politics. And until the left feels as though it's politically disadvantageous for them to stand up to these people, they're not going to do it. And we saw this across the board. I noticed this during my 5 minutes of prep for my Laura Ingraham hit that Karen Bass, the mayor, had already weighed in, and she was blaming Trump. So, and we've got a story on this at Breitbart News. She did it all over the weekend, that Trump's chaotic escalation of the riots. She blames Trump. She says Trump is the one who is chaotically escalating the riots. We got some footage. Here's Karen Bass, the mayor.
What we're seeing in L.A. is chaos caused by the administration. People should exercise their right to protest. That's their First Amendment right. But people should also exercise that right peacefully. We do not want to play into the administration's hands. We're working with officials. We're organizing resources.
So that's the main reason not to riot. It's not to destroy property. It's not beneath you as human beings. It's not because it is we don't believe in violence. It's because you're playing into the administration's hands. So just note that she sees everything as political. Everything is political with the left. That is what they're always looking at constantly. You think I'm a very political person. I see a lot of things through the eyes of politics. I see culture and art through the eyes of politics. I admit it. Hand up on that one. But the left has no exception. There's no exception to this. Everything they do, even rioting, it has to be purely the reason not to do it is not because it's wrong morally. It's not because it's illegal. It's because it plays in the administration's hand. I want to play this from the top again because it's just important to note where she starts with saying that this is a First Amendment stuff. There's nothing First Amendment about torching cars in the middle of L.A.
What we're seeing in L.A. is chaos caused by the administration. People should exercise their right to protest. That's their First Amendment right. But people should also exercise that right peacefully. We do not want to play into the administration's hands. We're working with officials. We're organizing resources. But what we're seeing in Los Angeles is chaos that is provoked by the administration. When you raid Home Depot and workplaces, when you tear parents and children apart, and when you run armored caravans through our streets, you cause fear and you cause panic. And
there's no discussion of root causes ever. There's no discussion root cause ever. There's no discussion of the fact the Biden administration allowing for all border protection to lapse, ending Title 42, ending Remain in Mexico, restarting catch and release, creating the parole pipeline, ending the Northern Triangle agreements, incentivizing people to work in their home countries and try to make money there, not funding the wall, all this stuff, the constant amnesty talk for my whole lifetime, that if you can get here, maybe you can be here. The chain migration, where if you get here, you can bring a bunch of dependents. That's the risk. That's how people's families get broken up, is you come here under those circumstances and you could end up having your family broken up. That's never discussed. The only thing that's discussed is whether or not it's Trump's fault for having any sort of law enforcement whatsoever. The implication is that if Trump is right, then she's failing. And she is failing. So is Gavin Newsom. We'll get to him in a second. But it is an admission that they didn't get the job done leading the city and leading the state. And they haven't gotten the job done. There's cultural rot. Makes healthcare more expensive, makes the schools unusable, makes homelessness uncontrollable, makes housing crisis. They've never cared, and they're not going to start caring now. And they believe that politically they're better off continuing to stay the course. And staying the course means that they're on the side of the rioters, the violent protesters in this country.
And deploying federalized troops is a dangerous escalation. But the most important thing right now is that our city be peaceful. And so protests and expressing your, fears, your beliefs is appropriate to do, but it is just not appropriate for there to be violence. And I don't want people to fall into the chaos that I believe is being created by the administration completely unnecessarily.
Trump made them torch cars, guys. You heard it from the LA mayor. Trump made them torch cars. The Democrats across the board blasting the crackdown, media downplaying the violence. We'll have all these reports for you at Breitbart News. It'll be constant. Trump has vowed that this will stop. And you have to wonder where this is going to go. We're seeing mass looting. We have reports for you, Breitbart News. An ABC report, Breitbart, we're saying that people were having fun. That's it. So Breitbart says it's not an AI. So John Nolte, he's a trustworthy guy. He doesn't get fooled by anyone. Can you believe that, Missy, that wasn't an AI? That's wild to me. Like, I don't want to get got on the show. It's going to happen eventually. I talk enough. I've got got a couple times, but it's not often. It's really not often for the amount of time I've been in this business, but it's happened a couple times. One more time, just because it's the best ever.
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into a massive confrontation and altercation between officers and demonstrators.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. So this is where they're at, having fun. Chris Murphy was saying this is a moment where we all have to be on the streets all over the country. He's one of the biggest weirdos on earth, Chris Murphy from Connecticut, who is in the process of having his family broken up by one of Lorene Powell Jobs' minions. Really weird guy, and do not say that stuff when not your city getting ruined in Connecticut. Represents Connecticut. Like, stop encouraging people to ruin my city. This is a moment of deep economic chaos. No one knows really what the future is for the big, beautiful bill. No one knows what the future is for tariffs, China tariffs. So many of America's biggest companies are seeing wild swings that are just completely inconsistent. The hedge against the wild times we're in is gold. And if you had bought gold, when I started to recommend my friends at Priority Gold, you would have made a ton of money. I'm just looking at the data right now. We're talking about year to date, gold is up 25.4% as I'm doing this recording. Over the last year, gold's up 40%. That is a wild return. That's an absolutely wild return. I was just doing TV with Steve Moore, and he was talking about the price of gold and how it's really, really high right now. And it crested over $3,400 an ounce just this week. I've got the best partners in the game at Priority Gold. If you text the word freedom to the number 24999, or you go to prioritygold.com/freedom, they will get you a free gold and silver guide. They will help personalize a package for you so that you can start buying your own gold. You can do a gold 401k, a gold IRA. They have so many options for you, and they will help you. They will help you. They will get on the line with you and tailor a strategy just for you. But you got to go to prioritygold.com/freedom or text the word freedom to 24999. These are great partners to be in business with at a moment where gold is red hot. It's gold hot. right now. All right, check them out, prioritygold.com/freedom. These people are so bad. Okay, we got Gavin Newsom. Got a couple of Gavin Newsom clips here. The governor of the state, who again is in a tough spot because he knows he's got to stop this, but he can't give Trump any credit, and he has to act like Trump is bad. Because remember, the politics is the most important thing. Saving the city is second, maybe third. It is making sure Trump is portrayed as the bad guy is the number one thing. So let's see how Newsom does.
Has been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough.
So he's on MSNBC. It looks like Jacob Soboroff is the reporter who is one of the biggest open borders advocates in America. He's a guy from deep privilege. His dad is a multi-millionaire business guy. He went to Harvard Westlake, same high school as I did. We didn't overlap. He's a little older than I am. But a guy who comes from deep white privilege. And he's the biggest advocate in LA just about to open up all the borders. All legal immigrants are saints. That's his approach. And they keep having him out there, even though the left is losing on this issue. They're hemorrhaging voters, and they still keep putting out the same people who are part of the reason why they're doing so poorly. Here we go.
Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn, but I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
The perception is there's a lot of
let's go. What a chicken hawk. These guys always get outraged at the wrong stuff or something that was only bad. They didn't recognize it at the time. Tom Homan, Kristi Noem, Stephen Miller, Donald Trump, these guys don't care about what they're saying on MSNBC. They don't care about Newsom's opinion. And if you guys wanted us to care about your opinion, you should have behaved a lot differently the last 30 years when illegal immigration was ruining the city. It was so informative to me, and I think I've written about it in all of my books. And I will tell you, when I announced my big research project, the immigration stuff is a big deal. It's a big part of it, as always. It really was the cardinal sin of the left in this country, and I think it was the beginning of the end of the establishment of the Democrat Party as we'd known it. Was their embrace of open borders and illegal immigration, because it's not a tenable position for any country. We have the worst border policy on the planet, and it is led by people like Gavin Newsom. So, and the establishment in California, which has been the tip of the spear for this stuff. We got some more.
Do you have any confidence that Pete Hegseth will be as principled as Mark Esper was?
Pete Hegseth's a joke. He's a joke. Everybody knows it. So in over his head. What an embarrassment. That's this guy's weakness masquerading as strength. I don't even know he masquerades as strength. I mean, it's a serious moment. I mean, this Human guy, these guys, it's the band of misfits.
Yeah.
It really is. This is serious. People's lives are at stake. The reputation of this country is at stake. Great American cities and states. It's not just, this is a preview for things to come. This isn't about LA per se. It's about us today. It's about you, everyone watching tomorrow. I promise you. I mean, this guy's unhinged. Donald Trump is unhinged right now. And this is just another proof point of that.
We need to liberate LA, as Trump says. And I would much rather I wish we could appoint Pete Hegseth governor right now. It's not going to happen. I mean, Hegseth, I think, has been one of the highest achievers of the Trump administration. I think he's doing an amazing job. He's cutting a lot of waste. He's restoring recruitment to the military. I think that he's got the right approach where I think he's able to balance some of the realities of running a massive bureaucracy and trying to do reforms as quickly as he can. I think Hegseth has been absolutely fantastic. That's why they got to attack him. They always do this stuff, like calling J.D. Vance weird on the campaign, which was like it didn't work for a second, and yet they did it. And they got to try anything. So this is another one that Brian Tyler Cohen. This has got to be one of the guys they're testing out to be the new Rogan. So Newsom just doing chicken hawk stuff. Like he failed the city. The city's burning because of him, not because of Donald Trump and because of Karen Bass, all these people. Yeah, Trump directing the Department of Homeland Security, Department of Defense to liberate Los Angeles. Illegals will be expelled. I will tell you one thing that is crystal on this to me. We have got to absolutely go all in on deporting every illegal alien. There can be just no exceptions at this point. It's got to be zero tolerance for illegal immigration because of the cultural rot. It's not that every illegal alien is a bad person. It's not that every illegal alien doesn't have some claim and some strained logic or legal setting to maybe stay here for some reason or another. I don't care anymore. It's over. It's over. I didn't care much before, but I certainly don't care now because the message it sends that America is open for invasion, which this obviously is. We're seeing Mexican flags flying, people speaking Spanish, screaming swear words, trying to assault violence against law enforcement. No society that values itself, that respects itself, would allow for this at all. And so, what are the root causes? It's illegal immigration. Pure and simple. Cannot tolerate it anymore. Okay, what else is there to say about that? Oh, Kamala Harris, who I was tracking all weekend because she wants to be the governor of the state. She didn't say anything for 2 days and then criticized Trump for federalizing the National Guard. So are any of you surprised by that? That Harris's reaction was to attack Trump? So, and then she said nothing for 3 days because she's no leadership, because the left is devoid of people who are leaders. We have a fair bit of leaders on the right. I mean, there's so many people in our movement where when they stop and say something, I have to think, did I think of that before? And the answer is oftentimes not. Like Trump, Bannon, JD. I mean, some of these guys have leadership characteristics where you can throw something out there and it's maybe I don't agree, but I might not have thought of it. And is Kamala Harris to have one idea? Does Gavin Newsom have one idea? Does Pete Buttigieg have one idea that you couldn't have thought of yourself? And probably rejected, but at least thought of it yourself? This is their main issue, maybe, of all the issues. They don't have any leadership. Is it their standard bearer, the woman who they nominated for president of the United States to beat Trump, who is from California, where this is happening and could very well be the governor of California the next term, says nothing and then basically blames Trump? Here's Maxine Waters, one of the longest standing LA politicians. Check it.
Yesterday, it seems that ICE was in Los Angeles in a number of neighborhoods, but they arrested David Werta, who is the head of one of our SCI unions. We don't know why. We don't know where he is. We don't know why they're calling in the National Guard. There's no danger. There's no violence. The President of the United States hates Los Angeles because we're a sanctuary city.
Oh, wait a minute. There's no danger. There's no violence? What about this? Or what about this?
Large group of people. It could turn very volatile if you move law enforcement in there in the wrong way and turn what is just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn into
amazing. So I could play more Waters all day, but I think I made the point. I don't need to bludgeon you guys with it. But Mexico's president, New York Times, all excusing the LA violence. Karen Bass, if immigration raids had not happened here, we would not have the disorder. This is a historic opportunity for us. We've had so many recently, but this is a historic opportunity for us to show the world what the left is. They're pro-violence. They're pro-chaos. They're anti-law and order. They don't like this country. They don't like the English language. They don't believe we're entitled to safety in our streets. They don't think we're entitled to have a culture at all. They don't think we're entitled to have a country at all, because if we don't have a border, we don't have a country. And so this is one where this has got to be the 97-3 issue, and I don't know who the three are. Apparently it's Maxine Waters and these guys who are showing up in L.A. But insurrectionist Democrats, according to Nolte at Breitbart, are planning another summer of blue city riots. Good. Do it. Riot everywhere. Why not? Let the blue cities riot amongst themselves, and the rest of the world can watch, and we can bear witness to it. Cory Booker, Trump is trying to incite violence at peaceful protests. What evidence is it that these were peaceful? If they're not peaceful for 5 minutes, you can't call them peaceful. I get if they were peaceful for weeks on end, and then Trump sends in some, military guys or law enforcement guys, and then they don't get peaceful. I understand that, but that's not what this is. This is they immediately go violent, and there's fear that they're going to spread throughout the country. Look, in all, to be literal, I'm not rooting for it. I'm anti-violence. But I will tell you, if it does happen, it will be very illustrative. It will be illustrative, and I think more and more people will be convinced that the left cannot be trusted with this country. They do not protect the law-abiding. They protect the criminals. Okay, that's my take on the LA riots. More updates for you. I do get Dr. Drew's take, so we get a little bit more tomorrow, and then I'm sure we'll resume this discussion on Wednesday with the next day of show that I record. A couple other ones I'll throw out there for you before we run. Elon Musk's father says his son's betrayal of Donald Trump was a mistake caused by being tired and stressed. I don't doubt that at all. Errol Musk, father of tech tycoon Elon Musk. I don't know what their relationship's like, so I don't know. Maybe they don't get along. I'd say this happens sometimes where it's kind of unfair to use the family against the other people, but well, what are you going to do? World's richest man, his dad weighs in. It's interesting. I had a tweet over the weekend about this show where I was trying to direct people to my conversation about Musk on Thursday and Friday's show, particularly Friday's show, where I gave you my full take. And look, I was holding back on him a little bit because he was doing so much good for the movement, but I've never trusted Musk, and you don't have to. He's a businessman. He's not someone who's been in the trenches in the conservative movement for very long. He was incredibly helpful, his brief stint with us. But just look for him, try to court the left, court the center. He's going to continue to cause problems. And hopefully, if he feels like it's good for his businesses and he lays off some of the drugs, he'll mostly be helpful. And I really feel like I'm hopeful that the things will get Musk and Trump will figure stuff out. But overall, I laid it out on my X account and on the show at the beginning of Friday. He's not to be trusted, and that's fine. He did a lot of good for our movement, but he's not to be trusted on a lot of stuff. He should not be the second most powerful political figure in the country. He should not be that way. It's a very helpful when he was here on the free speech stuff, and I think on the anti-trans stuff, and the anti-woke stuff, and he's very charismatic. Freeing up the X platform is good. Provide a lot of money and enthusiasm. And I think he gave a lot of people in the tech bro community permission to say, okay, I like Trump now. All that's great. But he's bad on China. He's bad on immigration. And he's bad on the family. There's a lot of stuff he's bad on. So it's okay to say that stuff. So we can have some nuance here on the show. That makes it good. All right. Other things. Israel is screening October 7th massacre footage for Greta Thunberg. She's on something that they're calling the selfie yacht, where she's driving around. Is this at where was this? Cannes Film Festival? Is that where they were doing this? It was somewhere, but she'd been driving around complaining about Israel and being pro-Palestine or Palestinians, whatever you want to call it, the Hamas, essentially. So the Israeli government is trying to show her the October 7th footage. I have two takes on this. There's a lot of coverage of this at Breitbart. I haven't gotten around to covering it much, but you guys know Greta. She's the green kid who everyone was trying to trust climate policy for the whole world because she was so inspiring with her rants. And Missy, you got to pull the clip where she says, "How dare you" to people. I got to have that handy. That's a great drop for me to use from time to time. But famous for yelling, "How dare you" at world leaders. And a troubled kid, clearly has mental health issues, very strange. And we just announced she was the savior of the world and green policy. Totally bizarre and weird. And just note that she was the #1 climate activist, and now she's out there fighting for the cause of Hamas and Gaza. And that reveals to you that it was never about the climate. It's always about communism. It's always about Marxism. It's always about leftism, collectivism, whatever's your favorite ism you want to use. But it's about the institutional left around the world. And that's, I'm sure, who's funding her. That's, I'm sure, who's the puppet masters behind her. And so she will latch on to whatever is the trendiest left-wing cause. And there's some momentum, I think, ideologically behind the Palestinian movement, so to speak, against the Israelis. Israelis have really bad PR right now. They're not handling that war very well. And it is a good reminder. I think it's a good tactic to remind people of where this latest rash of fighting happened. It was the October 7th, 2023 massacre. That's where this stuff came from. That's the origins of it. One of the most brutal terrorist attacks that we've seen in recent times in this century. One of the most brutal, not the most, but one of the most. And that's where the war started, the fresh round of fighting. So the war is perpetual, but the freshest round came from there, and we lose sight of that. And the Hamas did that, and they're the ones who essentially, if you are, if you are against Israel in this war, then just know that who's going to take Israel's place? I can make that a rhetorical question. What is the desire for the people in the region? What would fill the vacuum if Israel was not there? If you're answering something other than Hamas, please email me, aloha@alexmarlow.com, and tell me what I'm missing. Okay. Let's see. Miley Cyrus says a month is too short for Pride Month. It's a lifetime. This is great pandering to the two spirits and the four spirits. I don't know why the furries can't get in on the Pride Month. That's a good one. Last one I'll bring up for today, Simone Biles, the really irritating gymnast who she won a lot of awards for America. That's fine. But, you know, she's got mental health issues, she's admitted, and very strange person, has a very strange online presence. And she slammed Riley Gaines because Riley Gaines, who you all know stood up to Leah Thomas and the trans movement in swimming because she was getting kicked off the podium for Leah Thomas, who was a male and is a male and was swimming against women and winning by record amounts of time. You guys should be familiar with that saga. If you're not, it's unbelievable. And that's where Riley Gaines came out and was standing up to that. And Riley Gaines is a national treasure. She truly is an American hero for doing that. And I know that she's highly aggressive on X, the Everything app. That's not for everyone. You don't have to love that. But I'll tell you what she did initially. She really escalated the war for young women in American sports to reclaim their autonomy from men winning women's sports. And that makes her a hero. And what she's been doing with her platform is that she's been trying to get other famous females like Simone Biles and like Caitlin Clark to stand up against men in sports. And what's happened is that Simone Biles came out and basically body shamed Riley Gaines, and saying that she put up a post reacting to Riley Gaines on X, where she said, bully someone your own size, which would ironically be a male. So this is body shaming a woman. It's a attack on her appearance, which is bizarre because Simone Biles is 4'9" and is shaped very weird. She's got a very weird body. Naturally, if you're going to be one of the greatest gymnasts of all time, you're probably not going to have a normal body. It's just true. And I'm not calling her unattractive or very attractive. I'm just saying it's weird and not typical. Riley Gaines is a beautiful blonde woman. So I don't understand this with blue eyes, searing, piercing blue eyes. Like what? So I don't understand the attack. It's backfired so spectacularly. I have to say, this Simone Biles tweet was probably the worst tweet I've seen since the Vivi Ramaswamy H-1B tweet. Right? I mean, we gotta say this has been the most disastrous. And now they're going back and forth. But just know, I always love these things when woke people are exposed for who they are. And Simone Biles always kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I think she's done some woke stuff in the past. But for her to defend men beating women in sports, especially when she's in a sport where men don't compete against women. Have you ever seen any men trying to beat women in gymnastics? I have not seen it. Has this come up? Because I have not seen this. It certainly hasn't hit my radar in terms of news coverage. I was trying to do a little bit of research on it, but it is in gymnastics, women's gymnastics. I've not seen a big saga where trainees are coming out and they're trying to beat women in gymnastics and are able to do so, because I think women have a lot of advantages in gymnastics. Not every gymnastics event, but a lot of them. We haven't seen that. So her sport has not been affected. So she is not the one to be the spokesperson on this, but it really reveals, I think, something true about Simone Biles' character. And I found that to be a relief, because now I can openly dislike her, where in the past I had to dislike her in the closet, and that's gone now. But that saga is playing out. We got all the coverage of Breitbart, and it's awesome. I think that's a pretty good effort. 35 minutes straight through on vacation, no breaks, no hiccups. That's pretty good. That's a good show. Thanks to Misty. Thanks to all of you for hanging out with me on the Marlow Vacation Edition rant about Los Angeles. And I think we'll leave it there, and we will pick this thing up tomorrow with Dr. Drew, and then I'll be back in my usual setup on Wednesday. Thanks for checking out the Marlow Show and recommending it to 10,000 friends and family members. Liking, subscribing, all that stuff is great. You can always email me, aloha@alexmarlow.com. See you tomorrow.